You're gonna die! Nothing. It's a video, babe.
You're gonna die.
We are gonna die. You're gonna die. I'm gonna die. We're all gonna die. Just not today.
You're gonna get cancer and never be able to have babies if you use Ilco Lori style deadbolts, because it is now hit with the Proposition 65 warning. Proposition 65 is California's attempt to claim that everything in the universe is going to cause you cancer. If you might remember, back in the late 80s, early 90s, Proposition 65 was put into place, and first and foremost, it seems like they jumped straight on key blank manufacturers because there was too much lead in key blanks. We cannot have too much lead, otherwise we are going to get cancer and never be able to have babies again. However, this is new. I just got these Lori deadbolts in. I used one the other day that did not have this sticker, that was fairly new. I bought it a couple of months ago. Now I just got into, and they have now Proposition 65. I'm going to put right here in this video, I'm going to put the little thing kind of explaining what Proposition 65 is. It is California. Back in the 80s, like mid 80s or something, they were like, okay, just too much cancer, too much lead, we need to slap these, warnings on everything because it might cause cancer if you mess with it enough. And it was very publicized back then. If you were a locksmith back then, it was a big thing with the key blank manufacturers. They jumped on key blank manufacturers because lead is in key blanks to, I believe it was to keep them from breaking as easily, to give them a little bit of a flex. But Proposition 65 came about and made all the key blank manufacturers, Copy Ilco, everybody who was making key blanks at the time, to reduce the content of their lead because it was known to cause cancer. And you would think that after all of that Ilco would have gotten it all figured out and been a little bit more careful, but apparently not, because these are new. And as you saw in that little thing that I just put up, now businesses have to put a warning label on if they use chemicals that can cause cancer or reproductive harm. So we now have Ilco deadbolts that might cause you cancer. Let's talk about Ilco deadbolts, or Lori style. These were traditionally known as Lori style deadbolts because they use mortise cylinders. There is single, double cylinder. These are two single cylinder chrome. They've also changed these, since I haven't actually talked about these in any videos recently. They've actually changed these in another way that we'll go ahead and talk about. Let me move over here. The deadbolts now have a tailpiece that you have to fasten yourself. You have to affix it yourself. Now, of course, with the Lori deadbolts, these have not changed in 40, 50, 60 years. They come with strike plate, long screws, the face plate for the metal, quote, high security strike plate. They come with a long Allen wrench that is needed to tighten the screw down, so I'll talk about that in a minute. They come with a couple of these wave washers. The only thing I don't like, these wave washers also come with guard rings, like Major or Kedex brand guard rings, and that is when you, well, let's go ahead. Yeah, I'll go ahead and open it up. When you are tightening a cylinder down, if you have this guard ring in it, or this wave ring, what it does is it gives it a little kind of a bounce. It's supposed to kind of like squeeze down. You can see how it's done there. Where are we in the camera? So that lets it, instead of the cylinder just being loose in there, that kind of gives it a little squeeze when you tighten it down, which kind of makes it firmer on a door. I'm not overly fond of these because these actually cause rust really bad. If you've ever used, or if you've ever taken off a Kedex guard ring, the ring that goes around the face of the cylinder so that you can't put a pair of pliers on it and wrench it off, you will see rust on even relatively new ones. These come less bolts. You buy the latch separately. I have drive-in bolts. Drive-in bolts don't have this faceplate. They just have the round thing. Lorry deadbolts, drive-in bolts. In another video, I had mentioned that I don't like using drive-in bolts. If I'm going to use a drive-in bolt, if I need to use a drive-in bolt, I will almost always use Lorry because I like theirs the best as long as you do it correctly. And I have noticed when you drill a 1-inch hole in a metal door, I just put one of these on a metal door yesterday, you still have to take a little router and route it out because that drive-in bolt is just a hair bigger than 1 inch. So if you just take a hole saw 1 inch, drill it through, and you try to put that drive-in bolt into the hole, it stops. So I take my router, rasp a little bit, and I just kind of carefully, you don't want to make it too big or the bolt will be floppy, but I just kind of ream it just a bit around the inside edge, and that lets that bolt go in, and then it's got little grooves close to the face where it's supposed to be tight in the hole. So again, don't route out the hole a lot. So, you know, this, as I say, it's not real metal. Oh gosh, it's metal, it's Zamac, it's crap metal, fake metal, crap metal, whatever. But geez, metal people, just back off. It's fake metal for me. It's you know, cast, just a mix of metals all cast together. And it comes, you know, already put together. You do not take this off. And it also comes with a dust cup with a faceplate. So 2 different styles of strike plates come with it, which is very handy if you're using this on a wood door or metal door. Most of the time on a metal door, you just drill your 1-inch hole. You can use what's called a thimble strike, but it sometimes that thimble strike just does not fit right, does not hold in, will fall out. So almost always I don't. So the deal with these now is, as we see, these used to come with the thumb turn and the tailpiece already attached to the interior. And now they do not. You have to assemble it. And I noticed that there are no assembly directions. The last box I had actually had a separate thing for the tailpiece assembly. So maybe they merged it into this. They did not. So no. Let's see if it's in the other one. Other one has paperwork. So they are leaving you to your own to figure it out now. No more informational paperwork. Let me go see if I can find one. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Here we go. This is the one that I just used. You notice it has no sticker, so this deadbolt does not cause cancer. However, these do. This is what I was talking about. It used to come with this sheet, which I'm surprised it's not in there, and that basically describes how you put the tailpiece in. Now, it can only go in one of 2 ways, so it's not that bad to figure out, but we will take this apart and tell. Now, you can use, some people just buy these in double cylinder, and you can use a thumb turn, a mortise cylinder style thumb turn for the inside. However, oh, here's that sheet. Haha, here it is. Okay, so it is in there still. So basically you have to assemble your thumb turn. We cut it open, we get on site. And really, depending on the hand of your door, you know, if it's left hand, right hand, it goes one way, your right hand goes the other way, snapping in a full page of rather complicated directions for something that's kind of easy. But, so basically, let's go ahead and just mock one of these up. This is a 2 3/4 inch standard bolt. You would put this in the hole in the door. We can actually do this. Let's do this. Let's do this thing on this. Are we in view? We're mostly in view. So here, let's get this out the way. All right. So basically, you know, normally you would. Oh, well, that's 2 3/4. So we're not going to be able to do this right, but I can still show you. So normally you would put your latch in and then put the rest of the deadbolt in. However, on this, you have to use this doodad. This is the interior mechanism. And basically when it goes in the door, it goes in, you know, there's two sides. And you see the side that's facing out has your screws. and a notch on the bottom where the other side does not. The notch on the bottom is this mechanism. This mechanism is what extends and retracts your deadbolt. So that has to go into that side, and obviously the screws have to be facing out. And how you tighten all this down is let's retract this. Once it's in the door, you would use this long Allen wrench to go down beside the deadbolt. This is one of those things I'm not really going to go into a lot because a lot of people can't figure this out. It's one of those secrets of the trade that helps locksmiths make money. But anyway, with the Lorry wrench, you would go down in there and see what it's doing there. Is it's going all the way through that hole right there, and it's engaging with that screw. Let me freeze this right here to get a screenshot, and then you tighten it down, and you see your little set screw there. It would do just like an Adams Wright style lock. It would lock your cylinder in place in the groove of the cylinder, which is what those grooves are for. So when you are putting this on the door, and again, I'm not gonna be able to fully do this, you would basically put this in the hole, and then you would take your latch and run it through until it is all the way in. Now, once it's in, and you want to make sure it's all the way in, there is a concave, what are we trying to say here? A countersunk holes on one side and not on the other. So obviously your screws have to go into the thread of this. So depending on which way you're putting it on your door, the screws may be on the outside, maybe on the inside, don't know. But these are the two little brass screws that come with it. Those, once you get this through and fully in, you would put your screw through here, and then tighten them down. Once you tighten them down with the screwdriver, which I do not have with me, so let me grab a screwdriver here. Once you tighten those screws down, we can, oh yeah, let's do this. Let's do it on this thing so we can watch how it works. So this would be your hole. We're going to put that in the center, and then we run it through until it goes all the way. And if you can't get your screws through, that means it is not sunk down right. That happens sometimes with your drive-in deadbolts. If your drive-in deadbolts are not seating all the way, you may have an issue with it. These screws right here not going on. Of course, like I said before, depending on which side of the door this is, this may be on the outside or inside. It does not matter. As far as security, it does not matter at all which side these screws are on, as long as they easily go through those holes, and as long as everybody running outside. It's the emergency. So once you tighten those down, get it good and snug, your latch will not come out because those go through the hole in the latch. So obviously it's not going to come out. Now once you're done there, you're going to take the outside. If it's a double cylinder, you're going to get two of these. If it's a single cylinder, you're going to get this with the little thumb turn. Again, you can use a thumb turn, a mortise cylinder thumb turn. I will say that the best thing to use, the best cylinders, you can use 1-inch cylinders with these because a lot of us carry 1-inch cylinders, which are very common on glass doors. 1 1/8 are best for this because they just fit better, especially with the included spacer ring and then your one wave washer, which I will say goes in to the inside. This goes on top of it because if you do it the other way, when you tighten your mortise cylinder down on the outside, you will be able to kind of see how you kind of see a gap, and I don't like that. So in my opinion, the correct way for that to go would be this down, this up, and that way it gives you a kind of a seamless appearance. Oh man, look at that, my damn deadbolt's already dinged. I'm sending that back. That's just messed up. I can't believe it. Anyway, so yes, this is a 1-inch cylinder. So you see how kind of not far it goes in. That's why it's good to have 1 1/8 cylinders for this, especially on a standard 1 3/4 door, because you can have problems with it reaching. So basically what I do on this is I will put the outside cylinder in first, and I'm going to go ahead and just screw this down. And if you screw it down, you know, pretend this is in a hollow door. Let's watch it here. Okay, so that's about even, but as you screw it down, watch how it starts kind of cocking over. See how it's kind of moving towards the edge of the door. So what I do is I will, when I'm on, especially a metal door, because you know there's flux in the metal door, I will just get the outside started. So I will put the cylinder in and then just kind of start it. And then once I'm ready there, once the cylinder's held in, oh, by the way, I will point this out. This is something you do need to do, because with open back keyways, you can reach through and flip the little latch with certain tools. So they make these little caps. And those definitely need to go on the back of the open cylinders to cover it up. So you take these 2 screws out, put this on, put the screws in, and then you have a capped back, so you cannot manipulate anything through the keyway. So just get it started, 2 or 3 threads. And you know, according to how your door is, you're going to want the cylinder, the tailpiece goes in this horizontal. So it's either going to go like this if the door is one way, or it's going to go like this if the door's the other way. So it can go in either one of these 2 latches. And you can tell once you get it in, when it's unlocked, it's flat, and you want your thumb turn there to be this way, so that way when you lock it, it's that way. It gives you the natural view. If you do it any other way, it would be kind of confusing. So you want it this way for unlocked, this way for locked. If it's on the other side, it would be this way for locked, that way for unlocked. And that determines on how you're putting your tailpiece in. So on this one, we would just hold it up. We know that it's going to turn this way, so we're going to turn the thumb piece this way. And we want to put this in the, this is one thing I hate about this, is it kind of comes apart. All right, so we got our turn the correct way, looking at your directions. We're going to put this in to that one so that it is flat. All right, and then take our clip. Where'd our clip go? Come here, clip. And take our clip and clip it on. Let's find something to press on that. Here we go. Phone. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip it on. All right. Now you see the little notch in there. If you're putting this on a thin door, you would break that off, but always try it first, because you never know, you know, if it's going to work or not. So we're going to go ahead. Remember, our cylinder's still loose out here, and we're going to put that in and make sure it is operating correctly. And at that point, we would take our screws, which are, where'd my screws go? Our caller ID does not work. Okay, here's the screws. So we're going to drop that screw in, and drop this screw in, and we're doing this because it needs to bite into the holes that are here and here. So the reason why I didn't screw the cylinder in, because if I screw this in too much, it's going to pull it away from this side and my screws aren't going to reach. So when it's loose like this, I can take it and I can kind of push it. And when I push it, that gives me the stretch, I guess you could say, that I need. So I'm pushing so that that screw right there will engage. All right, so we got it in, where is it? Where's the hole? Where is the hole? There we go. All right, so I'm going to tighten that one screw down. I'm going to still check my deadbolt. put the other screw in, tighten it down. All right, now once I have these two engaged with, you know, by screwing it down 2 or 3 threads, then I can go back, because if I tighten these down, just like the other side, if I tighten this, it's gonna pull it that way and make it incorrect here. So I wanna get a few screw threads in, and then I want to go ahead and tighten my mortise cylinder down. And just like on Adams Wright style, like a glass door deadbolt, if you do it too far, it's gonna hit the latch and cause problems. But if you do it, I'll tighten it down, have it straight up and down, just like it should be there, and try your key. All right, now at this point it is still kind of loose on the door. So if you loosen this just a bit, depending on how many threads you have, you know, engaged, you may be able to get one more full revolution of this. But if you go to turn your key and it's tight or it binds, that means that the back of that cylinder is hitting your latch and it's not going to work correctly. Here it's still loose, so that is okay. Also, another problem you run into, if you tighten it down incorrectly, the wrench will not go in. So every so often I'll have problems with not being able to get that wrench to go through the hole. But that is good on the outside. And I'm going to go ahead and reach down in there. I've got it engaged and I'm tightening that screw. I'm going to rock the cylinder a bit to make sure that I've dropped in the notch of the cylinder, and then I'm going to tighten it down the rest of the way. Now our cylinder is locked in and is freely opening and closing. And at that point I will come back and tighten this down, just each side, go a little bit, okay, tight, tight, tight. Now with a hollow metal door, unless you use a reinforcer in the middle of it to keep it from collapsing, your hollow metal door can squeeze. So if you are looking at it and you see it start to squeeze in, then that's a problem. So kind of back it out a bit. And again, you may have to like back this out. When you back this cylinder out, it's going to bind this one. So you may need to kind of back out a little bit, and then that'll bind, and then back out. Make sure, go back and forth. They're both loose. And then just do each side at a time until they're both equally kind of tight. And then take your deadbolt and like try to move it up and down. It should be pretty locked into the door. And at that point, you are done. You do not have to tighten this down. There's no cylinder on the inside. Like I said, if you have a double cylinder and you're using a thumb turn, the only problem with the thumb turn is it's hard getting it tight. So on those, I would do the inside first, because obviously if you turn the thumb turn in a mortise cylinder, it's not turning the whole cylinder. So you kind of have to turn the cylinder like this with your pressure of your fingertips. It's not ideal using it. It's best to have double and single, but you can get away with the double for a single with a thumb turn, but it's obviously cheaper to do it with the single cylinder if you only need a single cylinder. So that is it. I think I've covered pretty much everything. This is your faceplate with your screws. That would go on top of that. And again, if you had to take this apart to rekey it, you would just take your faceplate off, get your lorry wrench, run it down in there, turn it until you feel it go into the hex screw, unscrew it just a bit until you can feel your cylinder start to back out. And that's all you have to do to rekey it. So that is my discussion on the cancer-causing deadbolts made by Lori. A couple of people make these, but Lori or Ilco has been kind of one of the most common over the decades. But unfortunately, it now causes cancer and reproductive harm, according to California anyway. All right, well guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Be very cautious with the materials that you are handling, because cancer sucks. Hopefully working with Lori deadbolts won't do that to me, but just another thing nowadays, you know. I think everything does. So anyway, if y'all have any questions or comments, as always, leave them in the comment section. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch y'all next video.
Let's drop some lead on those motherfuckers.